Welcome to the very first week of Real Talk for Real Moms on Megan Gets Real. This is my friend Crystal. Crystal has been my friend for, oh my gosh, 10 years now? We've been friends for a minute.
I don't know.
The boys are 9, so about 10 years, give or take. Anyway, the point is we've been friends. And so we're going to talk mom life with Crystal a little bit and just kind of get her perspective on kind of what it's like to be a mom. And so, Crystal, first thing we're going to do, and I have my notes on my phone because my memory stinketh. So, oh, good. We're like-minded. So we'll start with, even though I know the answer for everybody else, how many kids do you have and how old?
I've got 3 kids, 2 boys that are 11 and 9, and a girl that's 4.
Okay. And then we already talked about this a little bit earlier, but what is the funniest thing that each kid has done?
Oh, man. You know, I have to be honest, after all these years, I really just can't remember anything because that's just how mom life is. So I actually asked my husband to help me with a couple of them, and I'm not going to tell you which kid is which to save them the embarrassment when they're older. And really, it's mostly like when they were little, just because, I don't know, they do wacky stuff when they're little. So I had one while we were trick-or-treating with some of our friends. My son was learning the potty train, and we had walked like a mile from the car. I don't know, we were pretty far from the car. And my son, of course, declared that he had to go potty. And it's pitch black outside. We're like a mile from the car. I have no idea where we are. And there's no way I'm knocking on somebody's house and asking them to use the bathroom. So I'm like, oh, okay. So we ran over to these bushes in somebody's front yard that were hiding, so there were no lights. I didn't think anybody could see us. And I'm kind of bracing him because we have to go up this really steep hill. So he's, whizzing over here on the side. And he falls while he's peeing on this hill. Oh my goodness. Paraded me all over the place. I don't even think I told anybody that, but it was horrible. Don't ever take your kid to pee on a hill at night while they're trick-or-treating. It is not a fun experience.
No.
So that's my kid. Another one, I have another one. He's so funny, and I can't think of any one really funny thing he has done. But too much information here, he loves going commando for whatever reason. And more than once, he has come home from school, and I have noticed a sizable hole in the back of his pants, because all boys wear holes in their pants. And I'm like, what are you doing? I'm like, not only do you have a hole in the back of your pants, I'm like, but you're going commando. He's like, oh, no big deal.
Oh my goodness.
Boys are nuts. And then my boys would tell me this is the funniest story from my daughter, because she was a baby at the time, so it's not embarrassing for her, but I just had a C-section, and so I'm kind of sore, trying to, bend down on the floor and change her diaper and things. In the midst of having her diaper off, we hear poop shot across the room, all over my face, all down my shirt. My boys were sitting there, and they were just hysterically laughing. And to this day, they just think that it's the funniest thing on earth when she, pooped all over my face. And I'm just like, no!
Sounds like boy humor. They would find that hysterical, wouldn't they?
Pretty much anything with potty is, funny in this house.
My son would be laughing pretty much hysterically. All right, so what would you say was the biggest surprise about being a mom at the beginning?
So real moment here. Honestly, I was bored to death. You always think, I know, and this sounds funny because I don't know what I was thinking, but growing up, I always had a job, I always worked, I had a lot of complications with my first pregnancy, so I had to quit my job, and so, when I had my baby, I was home with them, and I was bored to death. I was so used to working and always being busy and always doing everything, and, right after a C-section, you don't move a lot anyways, and I got home, and, baby sleeps a lot, and I'm just sitting around what am I supposed to do now? I didn't have a job, I just had the baby, and the baby slept all the time. So it sounds so funny, and my husband would come home from work, and I'm like, I don't know, I'm like, this stay-at-home mom thing, I'm like, I'm really bored. That changed real quickly, but that was my first, kind of surprise of being a new mom.
What about going from 1 to 2 or 2 to 3?
Oh, man.
I know, I stumped you. That wasn't on your list that I gave you.
I know. I think going from 1 to 2, it was so fun. It was just really fun to watch my older one interact with my youngest one at the time. I mean, everything took more time, but it was a lot easier too because you had a big helper that wanted to run and grab a diaper and get toys and, you know, that kind of stuff. And going from 2 to 3, I just thought it was really easy. I mean, you know, now I have 2 big helpers, and they always want to play with a new baby, and
that makes sense.
It was a dynamic, but
okay. I would say, has the things that you've learned, has it changed as they've gotten older? Like, what would you say is the biggest thing now as they're older?
Besides the fact that I'm pretty much never bored anymore, that changed when the first one started moving. I think the biggest thing I've learned over the last 11 years now is everything is a phase. Whether you love it or you hate it, like, it's good and bad. Everything's a phase. So if your kid's doing something really rotten and they're throwing tantrums and throwing themselves on the floor screaming, like, it's a phase. They're not going to do that on their wedding day. It's going to go away, you know? But if it's something they're doing that's really cute and you just, like, want to squeeze them and love them, like, it's also still a phase, and they're going to grow out of that too. So, you know, if they're doing something that drives you crazy, it's not going to be forever. It seems really intense when it's going on, but it's going to go away. And, you know, if they're doing something that you really love, just really cherish it, write it down, take pictures, and remember it so you always have that memory forever.
I like that. I like that a lot. Everything is definitely a phase, especially having a tween. Whew. That's been an adjustment. Okay, if you could change one thing about the culture of motherhood, what would you change?
Well, probably remembering everything because I forgot to write the answer onto my notes here. So, oh gosh. I mean, there's so many stereotypical trite answers for changing the culture of motherhood with judging and, you know, expectations. I'm probably going to go pretty stereotypical here because I don't have it in my notes. So, yeah, I mean, just stop judging everybody else, you know, whether it's vaccinating or car seats or school choices or whatever, you know, your choices are. Just do what's best for your child and what's best for your family, and let somebody else decide what's best for their child and their family.
I would agree with that 100%, for sure. And I'm sure that you've had, I'm going to go real here for a second. I'm sure that you've had a lot of that judgment because your kids are so completely different. Because, yep. I mean, your oldest, right, am I allowed to say, like, your oldest is on the spectrum?
Yeah. Yep, I was just going to say, my oldest has autism, so that was kind of my big breaker into having children right there. Because we realized that when he was about 2, he wasn't officially diagnosed till 4. But, I mean, you knew when he was little, like, we knew right away. So, yeah, if your first one has autism, I mean, you just shatter all those boundaries right there, and you just get used to the judging and the looks, and, you know, you hope you learn better for when now he's older, he's had a lot of therapy, he's very mainstream, you really wouldn't notice his autism most of the time. But, you know, it's still hard. If you see a little kid throwing a tantrum in the store, you're still kind of looking over, and in the back of your mind, you're like, oh, you know, are they doing, you know, what are they doing, or what's the kid upset about? And it just, you have to constantly remember that you don't want those looks yourself, so don't give them to somebody else.
I like that a lot. What would you say, kind of following on the coattails of that, what would you say has been the hardest part for you of being a mom?
I think that's changed a lot over the different, like, phases of the kids' lives. I think overall motherhood, the hardest is just being so tired and so always balancing everything. You know, you're balancing everything, you're holding so many things and you're trying to be good at it, but there's so many things and something's always going to fall. You're always going to drop the ball. That's just how it is, and that's okay. So I think, let's see, checking my cheat sheet here. So being tired, you know, I mean, I don't care whether you have teenagers or tweens or toddlers or baby, like, you're just going to be tired. You're getting older. Your body changes. There's lots of phases. So that overall, but I think right now as my kids are getting older and I'm getting older, I struggle more with who I thought I was going to be and what I thought I was going to be able to accomplish, which maybe got put on the back burner with kids, and then not knowing how to get back to what those dreams were or what they even still are anymore. And there's just that big gap of putting your dreams on hold, having kids, which is a new dream, and that's great. But then, what's your dream after that, and how do you even get there? So.
I think a lot of moms could probably relate to that, because I know that a lot of people that watch these and that read the blog and stuff, that they all kind of share that with me, that it's like, how do I still keep me in the midst of trying to give them their best life and their best chance?
And there's no easy answer, unfortunately.
Nope. We're all just kind of winging it.
Yep.
What would you say has been the biggest help for you as a mom?
This kind of piggybacks on the figuring out who you are and where you want to go, but the two biggest helps over the years, one of the biggest helps has been having good support, good friends, good family. Find that group that works for you and that supports you, whether it's someone you can leave your kid with in an emergency situation or someone you can go out with coffee for every week, whatever it is. Find it and keep searching for it until you find that. And then the other thing is as a personal thing, is learning how to take time for yourself, which is really hard when you're busy taking care of the kids and the spouse and the family and anything else going on in the household. But learning how to take care of myself has helped me be happier and has helped me have more energy and focus on helping my kids be happier and figuring out what they need.
I could see that for sure, and it looks different for everybody, because what one person's go out for coffee, maybe another person's I'm taking a bath and locking the door with chocolate.
Yep, and I do all of that, so it's all good.
All right, if you could give one piece of mom advice, what would it be?
So I started to write down one sentence for this so that it wasn't super long, because everybody's got an advice for a mom, right? There's always an opinion, there's always a judgment, there's always something. And my one sentence turned into a lot of sentences, so I'm just going to read them off really quick. Just when you think you've got this parenting thing figured out and you finally feel like you're in stride, something's going to happen and you're going to realize you don't even know what you're doing anymore. So it's that phase. It's always a phase. There's always a change. You just have to learn how to be flexible with it. And it's not bad to not love the phase that you're in. It's okay not to be happy with whatever's going on, because you're not going to be this happy, perfect mom all the time. I don't care what commercials tell you. Life happens, and sometimes there's phases my kids go through that just drive me batty, and I'm so glad when that phase is over. And I think the other thing is always trust your instinct, whether it comes to your kids and medical decisions or the schooling or how you raise your kids, your internet usage, anything else. Trust your instinct. Don't feel, do what you feel is best for your children and your family, not what other people pressure you into doing because they're trying to make you feel guilty.
That makes sense completely. And I like that, because it gives people the space to kind of let it go a little bit and let themselves off the hook a bit. Yeah, there's no stigma. It's that cultural stigma of doing the right thing, and there is no right way for everybody. Very true. All right, so you're going to have most fun with this question.
That was on my list.
What?
Okay.
Okay, so Crystal is an influencer in multiple spaces. She runs an Etsy store. She does a little bit of everything. So tell them where you're at, where you blog, what you do.
So my main site is survivingateacherssalary.com. That's education geared for teachers and parents, kids, crafts, stuff like that. My travel obsession, which is my dream someday, is Exploration America. And that's all sorts of nature, outdoorsy things, interesting oddities to do in the U.S. And yeah, the Etsy shop, I wouldn't have probably mentioned it, but that's Curiosity Explored. It's kind of my dabbling trial right now, and that kind of runs along with educational and outdoorsy stuff and hands-on. And all kinds of crocheted cuteness. Yeah, some crochet stuff, some printables. It's just my mishmash of everything I'm dumping on there right now. It's an outlet, but it's a fun one. It's an outlet. And let me see where it's, so they could find you on either blog and then also on the Etsy store, and then I can throw those links in the description for everybody so that they can find them. Other than that, I think that's pretty much it. Thank you so much for taking the time out of the day to chat with everybody. All right, thanks for having me on. All right.